Welcome back to Channel Law Coins World. Today, we are exploring one of the most talked about modern-era American coins among collectors, the 1965 Washington quarter. At first glance, there is nothing that seems extraordinary about it. It carries the familiar portrait of George Washington on the front and the classic eagle design on the reverse. Millions of Americans have seen similar coins throughout their lives, yet hidden within the history of this particular year is a story that continues to captivate collectors, investors, and treasure hunters alike. To understand why the 1965 Washington quarter attracts so much attention, we need to travel back in time to the mid-1960s. America was going through significant changes. The nation was experiencing social transformation, technological advancement, and economic growth. At the same time, a major challenge was developing within the coin industry. Silver prices had begun rising, and people realized that the silver content in circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars was becoming increasingly valuable. As a result, many individuals started hoarding silver coins rather than spending them. This created a shortage of coins in circulation and became a serious concern for the government. To address this issue, the United States Mint made one of the most important decisions in modern coinage history. Beginning in 1965, quarters would no longer be struck using the traditional 90% silver composition that had been used for many years. Instead, the Mint introduced a new copper-nickel-clad composition designed to reduce production costs and keep coins circulating. This change made the 1965 Washington quarter historically significant from the moment it was created. It represented the beginning of a new era in American coinage. Millions of those quarters entered circulation, and most Americans probably never realized they were holding a piece of history. To them, it was simply another quarter. But decades later, collectors began viewing these coins differently. One unique aspect of the 1965 quarter is that it does not carry a mint mark. During the coin shortage, mint marks were temporarily removed from circulating coins to discourage collectors from pulling large numbers of coins out of circulation. As a result, quarters struck during this period lacked the mint marks that collectors normally use to identify production locations. This unusual situation immediately sets the 1965 quarter apart from many other Washington quarters. When collectors study these coins today, they often focus on more than just the date. They examine strike quality, surface preservation, luster, eye appeal, and overall condition. Every small detail can influence a coin's desirability. Most 1965 quarters experienced heavy circulation. They were used daily in grocery stores, restaurants, gas stations, vending machines, and countless other places. Over time, the constant handling left marks, scratches, and wear. Think about how many transactions a single quarter might have been involved in during its lifetime. It could have traveled across multiple states. It could have passed through hundreds or even thousands of pockets. It may have been used to buy food, gasoline, movie tickets, or everyday necessities. Each transaction added another chapter to its story. As years passed, most examples lost their original brilliance. The once shiny surfaces became dull. Small details began to soften. Contact marks accumulated from decades of use. Yet a small number of coins escaped this fate. Some were saved by collectors who recognized the importance of the composition change. Others were stored away in rolls or albums shortly after being released. These preserved examples remained protected from the wear and tear that affected most circulating coins. Those survivors are what make the 1965 Washington quarter so intriguing today. In the coin collecting world, condition often determines value. Two coins from the same year may look similar to an untrained eye, but their values can differ dramatically based on preservation. Professional grading services carefully examine coins under controlled conditions. They assign grades using a standardized numerical scale. At the highest levels, even tiny imperfections can make a substantial difference. A small mark invisible to most people could lower a grade. A slight weakness in the strike could affect desirability. An exceptional coin with outstanding luster and minimal imperfections, however, may achieve elite status. This concept is known as condition rarity. A coin may be common overall but extremely rare in top condition. That reality drives much of the excitement surrounding the 1965 Washington quarter. Collectors searching for elite examples know that finding one is not easy. Most coins have spent decades exposed to circulation and storage conditions that reduce their quality. As a result, pristine survivors become increasingly difficult to locate. Imagine searching through thousands of quarters. Most appear ordinary. Most show signs of wear. Then suddenly, one stands out. Its surfaces shine. Its details remain sharp. Its appearance suggests decades of careful preservation. That moment of discovery is what keeps collectors searching year after year. The appeal of the 1965 quarter extends beyond rarity and value. It also represents a pivotal turning point in American monetary history. It marks the transition from silver circulating coinage to modern clad coinage. Every time a collector holds a 1965 quarter, they are holding a piece of that transformation. It is more than just money. It is a historical artifact connected to one of the most important changes ever made to United States coinage. This historical significance adds another layer of fascination. Collectors are not simply buying metal. They are preserving stories. They are preserving moments in history. They are preserving evidence of how economic conditions shaped the coins Americans used every day. Over the years, interest in modern coin collecting has grown tremendously. More collectors now appreciate the challenges involved in locating exceptional examples of coins from the 1960s, 1970s, and later decades. The 1965 quarter has benefited from this increased attention. Many collectors now revisit old collections, inherited coin albums, and forgotten storage boxes searching for overlooked treasures. Some search bank rolls hoping to uncover a remarkable survivor. Others spend years building complete Washington quarter collections and carefully upgrading individual pieces whenever better examples become available. The hunt itself is part of the excitement. Every coin carries potential. Every collection may hide a surprise. Every discovery creates a new story. Auction results often demonstrate just how strong collector demand can become. When an exceptional example appears, serious collectors recognize the opportunity. Competition increases, bidding intensifies. The final result can surprise people unfamiliar with the hobby. To many observers, it may seem unbelievable that a quarter could command such attention. After all, it was originally worth only 25 cents. Yet in numismatics, value is not determined solely by face value. It is determined by rarity. It is determined by preservation. It is determined by historical significance. And perhaps most importantly, it is determined by collector demand. The 1965 Washington quarter combines all of these elements in a fascinating way. Its role in American coinage history makes it memorable. Its connection to the end of circulating silver coinage makes it significant. Its scarcity in elite grades makes it desirable. Together, these factors create a coin that continues to attract attention decades after it was first released. The next time you encounter an old quarter, take a closer look before spending it. Examine the date. Study the details. Consider the journey that coin may have taken over the years. Most coins are ordinary, but every now and then, one turns out to be something special. That possibility is what makes coin collecting such an exciting hobby. It transforms everyday objects into opportunities for discovery. It connects people with history while offering the thrill of a treasure hunt. The 1965 Washington quarter remains a perfect example of how an ordinary-looking coin can become an extraordinary collectible. It reminds us that value often hides where we least expect it. And for one remarkable example preserved in exceptional condition, the value reached an incredible $49,295. What if I told you that a quarter most people would never look at twice could be hiding a story worth thousands of dollars? Imagine opening an old drawer in your home, finding a handful of coins, and discovering that one of them is a 1992 Washington quarter. At first, it seems ordinary. It looks like the same type of quarter millions of Americans have used for decades. Yet for collectors, certain examples of this coin represent far more than just 25 cents. The fascinating world of coin collecting is filled with surprises. Some treasures are centuries old, while others come from years that many people still remember clearly. The 1992 D Washington quarter falls into that second category. It is not an ancient coin, nor is it a relic from the distant past. It is a modern American coin that circulated during a time when people were using payphones, renting movies from video stores, and carrying cash for nearly every daily purchase. Back in 1992, the United States Mint was producing quarters in enormous numbers to keep up with the demands of commerce. Millions of these coins were struck and distributed throughout the country. Most entered circulation immediately and began their long journey through banks, stores, restaurants, gas stations, and countless other businesses. The small D mint mark found on the coin indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint. To many people, this tiny letter may seem insignificant. However, collectors know that mint marks tell an important part of a coin's history. They reveal where the coin was made and help identify specific issues that may become desirable in the future. When the 1992 D Washington quarter was first released, nobody expected it to become a subject of intense interest among collectors. It was simply another quarter entering circulation. People spent it without hesitation. Children used it to buy candy. Travelers dropped it into toll booths. Workers carried it in their pockets every day. Yet over time, something interesting happened. While millions of those quarters were produced, very few managed to survive in truly exceptional condition. Most accumulated scratches, contact marks, and signs of wear. Every trip through circulation left a small impact. Every transaction added another chapter to the coin story. Think about how many surfaces a coin touches during its lifetime. It falls onto counters, slides through cash registers, bumps against other coins, and spends years moving from one owner to another. These experiences gradually change its appearance. The brilliant shine it once had begins to fade. Tiny marks appear. The crisp details slowly become less distinct. This is why condition is so important in coin collecting. A coin that remains nearly untouched decades after its creation is something special. Such examples become increasingly difficult to find as time passes. Collectors understand this reality, and they actively search for coins that have preserved their original beauty. The 1992 D Washington quarter is a perfect example of how condition can transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary collectible. Professional grading services evaluate coins using a detailed numerical scale. Their experts examine every aspect of a coin's appearance. They look at luster, strike quality, surface preservation, eye appeal, and overall condition. Even the smallest imperfections can influence the final grade. This process creates dramatic differences in value. A quarter that appears ordinary may receive a respectable grade and remain relatively common. Another coin from the same year and mint, however, might achieve an elite grade because it possesses exceptional characteristics. That difference can completely change how collectors view the coin. Many people are surprised to learn that some of the most valuable modern coins are not necessarily rare in terms of mintage. Instead, they are rare in terms of survival. Millions may have been produced, but only a tiny number remain in near-perfect condition. This concept fascinates collectors because it turns the search for coins into a treasure hunt. Every coin jar, collection album, and forgotten storage box becomes a potential source of discovery. Collectors spend countless hours searching through coins, hoping to find an example that stands above the rest. Imagine inheriting a collection assembled decades ago by a family member. Inside are folders filled with quarters from different years. Most seem ordinary until one catches your eye. It shines differently. The details appear sharper. The surfaces look remarkably clean. Suddenly, a coin that once seemed common becomes a source of excitement. Stories like this are one reason why coin collecting continues to attract people of all ages. The Washington Quarter series itself has a long and respected history. Featuring George Washington on the obverse, it has become one of the most recognizable coins in American circulation. For generations, Americans have carried those quarters in their pockets without realizing that some examples could eventually become highly sought-after collectibles. The 1992 D issue occupies an interesting place within this historic series. It was produced during a period before the launch of the famous State Quarters program, which would later revolutionize coin collecting in the United States. Because of this, It represents part of the classic Washington quarter era that many collectors appreciate. As interest in modern coinage has grown, more attention has been given to coins from the 1980s and 1990s. Collectors have realized that some of these issues are surprisingly challenging to locate in elite grades. The 1992 D quarter is among the coins that have benefited from this growing awareness. Auction houses occasionally showcase extraordinary examples that attract significant attention. When collectors know that only a limited number of similar coins exist in such outstanding condition, competition can become intense. Bidders understand that opportunities to acquire these coins may be rare. This demand helps explain why certain examples achieve remarkable values. What makes this story even more exciting is that valuable discoveries are still possible today. Unlike ancient treasures locked away in museums, coins continue to circulate through society. Collections remain hidden in homes. Estate sales reveal forgotten accumulations. Coin rolls sit unopened for years. Every one of these places has the potential to contain something special. The hunt is part of the excitement. Collectors never know when they might encounter a coin that exceeds expectations. They study mint marks, dates, strike quality, and condition because even small details can make a tremendous difference. Another fascinating aspect of coin collecting is the connection it creates with history. A quarter minted in 1992 represents more than metal and design. It reflects a specific period in American life. Every surviving example has traveled its own path through time, carrying stories that remain unknown. Some coins spent years in circulation before being saved. Others were carefully preserved from the moment they left the mint. A few remained hidden away, untouched by the wear that affected most examples. These exceptional survivors become increasingly important as decades pass. Collectors often describe the thrill of finding a remarkable coin as similar to discovering buried treasure. The feeling comes not only from potential value but also from the knowledge that they have found something genuinely scarce. The 1992 D Washington quarter reminds us that rarity is not always obvious. Sometimes the most valuable collectibles are hiding in plain sight. They look ordinary until someone with knowledge and patience recognizes their significance. This idea keeps collectors searching. They continue examining rolls of quarters from banks. They continue exploring estate sales and flea markets. They continue reviewing old collections passed down through families. The possibility of finding a special coin remains one of the most powerful attractions of the hobby. For many enthusiasts, every coin tells a story. The 1992 D Washington quarter tells a story of mass production, circulation, survival, and collector demand. It demonstrates how an everyday object can evolve into a respected collectible over time. As years become decades, pristine examples grow increasingly difficult to locate. This scarcity creates opportunities for outstanding specimens to stand apart from the millions of ordinary coins that once shared the same origin. The next time you encounter a Washington quarter, take a moment to look closely. Examine the date, check the mint mark, observe the condition. While most coins will remain ordinary, one exceptional piece could reveal an entirely different story. That possibility is what makes coin collecting so exciting. It combines history, mystery, education, and discovery into a hobby that continues to captivate people around the world. The 1992 D Washington quarter stands as a perfect reminder that extraordinary value can sometimes be found in the most ordinary places. And in the case of one remarkable example, the value reached an astonishing $49,276. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a quarter, and discovering that the small coin you've carried around all day might actually be worth a life-changing amount of money. It sounds unbelievable, but stories like this are exactly why millions of people across the world have become fascinated with coin collecting. Hidden among ordinary pocket change are coins that collectors dream about finding, and one of those coins is the 1996 D Washington quarter. Law coins whirled at first glance. The 1996 D Washington quarter doesn't look special. It has the familiar portrait of George Washington on the front and the classic eagle design on the back. Most people would see it as nothing more than 25 cents. They might spend it on a snack, drop it into a vending machine, or leave it forgotten in a drawer. Yet beneath that ordinary appearance lies a story that has captured the attention of collectors for years. The year 1996 was an interesting time in American coinage. The internet was beginning to grow, technology was advancing rapidly, and millions of Americans carried Washington quarters in their pockets every day. The Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark, produced a huge number of quarters for circulation. These coins were designed for everyday commerce and were expected to move quickly through the economy. No one at the time imagined that decades later collectors would be carefully studying these same quarters under bright lights and powerful magnifying glasses. What makes the 1996 Washington quarter so fascinating is that its value isn't based solely on age. In fact, compared to many classic American coins, it's relatively modern. The real excitement comes from condition, preservation, rarity at the highest grades, and collector demand. Think about how coins are treated during their lives. They are tossed into cash registers, dropped onto counters, carried in pockets with keys, stacked in jars, and rolled through counting machines. Every scratch, nick, and mark slowly changes the coin's appearance. Over time, most coins lose the brilliant shine they had when they first left the mint. Now imagine a coin that somehow escaped all of that. Perhaps it was saved by a collector on the day it was released. Maybe it was placed into a protective holder and stored away for decades. Maybe it remained untouched while thousands of other examples accumulated damage through everyday use. These rare survivors become especially desirable because they preserve the original beauty intended by the mint. When collectors talk about coin value, they often focus on grading. Professional grading services evaluate a coin's condition using a numerical scale. The closer a coin is to perfection, the higher the grade it receives. This process may sound simple, but reaching the highest levels is incredibly difficult. A tiny contact mark can make a difference. A faint scratch can lower a grade. Even a slight imperfection visible only under magnification can separate an exceptional coin from a truly elite one. For the 1996 Washington quarter, this is where the story becomes exciting. Although millions were minted, only a very small number have survived in nearly flawless condition. Collectors competing for the finest examples understand that perfection is rare, and rarity creates demand. Picture a major coin auction where collectors from across the country are watching closely. Bidding begins, interest grows. Competitive buyers recognize that opportunities to acquire top-quality examples do not come often. As bids rise, the value of the coin climbs far beyond anything an ordinary person would expect from a quarter. This is one of the reasons the coin collecting hobby remains so exciting. Treasure isn't always buried underground or locked away in a museum. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight. Many collectors begin their journey by searching through rolls of coins from banks. Others sort through family collections passed down through generations. Some spend hours examining jars of change that have accumulated over the years. The possibility of finding a valuable coin keeps the hunt alive. The 1996 Washington quarter often appears on lists of modern coins worth examining carefully. Not because every example is valuable, but because the best examples have achieved remarkable recognition among collectors. Another interesting aspect of this coin is how it teaches an important lesson about rarity. Many people assume that a coin becomes valuable only if very few are made. While low mintage can certainly increase value, that's not always the whole story. Sometimes millions of coins are produced, yet very few survive in pristine condition. This concept is known as condition rarity. A coin can be common in lower grades and extremely rare in top grades at the same time. That's exactly why professional grading matters so much. A difference almost invisible to the average person can have a dramatic impact on value. Collectors also appreciate the historical connection of the Washington Quarter series. Since its introduction, the design has become one of the most recognizable symbols in American coinage. Generations of Americans have used these coins in daily life. Holding a Washington quarter is like holding a small piece of the nation's history. The 1996 issue represents a moment before the dramatic changes that would later come to the quarter series. A few years afterward, the famous state quarters program transformed American coin collecting and introduced millions of new collectors to the hobby. Because of this, Quarters from the years immediately before that program hold a special place for many enthusiasts. As awareness of modern coin collecting continues to grow, more people are paying attention to coins that were once overlooked. Collectors who once focused only on older coins are increasingly recognizing the importance of high-grade modern issues. This shift has helped bring greater attention to coins like the 1996 D Washington quarter. Imagine discovering one in a collection inherited from a relative. At first, it seems ordinary. Then you notice its remarkable shine. The surfaces appear clean and nearly untouched. Curious, you decide to have it examined by experts. What follows could be an exciting surprise. Stories like these fuel the imagination of collectors everywhere. They remind us that valuable discoveries are still possible. Every coin has a story, and sometimes that story turns out to be much more significant than anyone expected. The thrill of collecting isn't only about money, it's also about the search, the history, and the excitement of learning. Every coin represents a moment in time. Every scratch tells a story. Every preserved example offers a glimpse into the past exactly as it appeared when it left the mint. For the 1996 D Washington quarter, collector interest remains strong because top-quality examples are difficult to find. While worn coins are common, exceptional survivors stand apart from the crowd. Their rarity in elite grades creates the demand that drives impressive auction results. Many collectors spend years searching for coins with sharp strikes, strong luster, and outstanding eye appeal. When all of these qualities come together in a single coin, the result can be extraordinary. That is why experts recommend carefully checking old collections, coin albums, and forgotten boxes of change. Most coins will be ordinary, but every so often a remarkable piece appears. The next time you receive a quarter in change, take a moment before spending it. Look closely at the date. Check for the mint mark. Examine the condition. While the odds of finding a top-grade rarity are small, the possibility is what makes coin collecting such an enduring and exciting hobby. Countless collectors have experienced the thrill of discovering something unexpected. The search continues every day in homes, banks, flea markets, estate sales, and coin shops throughout the country. The 1996 D Washington quarter remains a perfect example of how an everyday coin can become a celebrated collectible. Its journey from circulation piece to sought-after rarity demonstrates the power of preservation, scarcity, and collector passion. What started as a simple quarter intended for daily transactions eventually became a coin that could command astonishing attention among serious collectors. And when one of the finest known examples appears on the market, the value can be difficult to believe. In the world of numismatics, ordinary objects sometimes become extraordinary treasures. The 1996 D Washington quarter proves that remarkable value can hide in the most unexpected places, waiting for someone to recognize its importance. One exceptional example achieved a value of $49,266.